everybody, welcome back to DeHaven Family Farm. Today we're going to be doing a review of this machine. I'm on my phone, so I don't know which way to tip anything here. We're going to do a review of our skid steer. So let me swap the screen around here. So this is a 2018 Kubota SSV 75. Obviously rubber tire machine. It is 74 point some odd horsepower, so it's just under the 75 horsepower mark, which allows the machine to only have a diesel exhaust filter, not the fluid. So you don't have to add fluid to this model. It weighs about 7,800 pounds, give or take. But today's review, I'm going to try and keep it somewhat short because I tend to ramble sometimes. But I'm just going to tell you the things that I like and don't like. I've had the machine a year and a half or so, probably just over a year and a half. And so I just want to give you guys an idea of the good and the bad with it. So let's start walking around looking at the back. Now, as I do this review, I used to have a New Holland L230. So a lot of the comparisons I'm going to make are going to be with a New Holland machine because that's just what I had previous. So I can't really tell you how it would compare to, you know, Bobcat, John Deere, things like that. But I will tell you one of the things that impresses me is this is all steel back here. There's no plastic, which is nice. The New Holland had a lot of plastic in the back. You know, this is just all nice, solid, heavy material. So right off the bat, that is one thing that really impressed me about the machine. It's very well made. Not a lot of cheap components. Now this machine has every option that was available, minus, you know, extra lighting kits or whatever, but it is high flow. It has the pilot controls. It has a boom ride control feature, which you can turn on, and when the boom's up in the air a little bit, the boom will actually kind of float up and down. I forget what they call it, shockless ride or something, I don't know. Has radio, AC, roll-up door, you know, all that stuff. So overall, it's been a good machine. I have not had one issue, not one leak. Not one repair, not one sensor, not anything that needed to be fixed on it since I've owned it. So that has been fantastic. I really like the roll-up door, so that it'll roll up out of your way. So if you have to climb out with the boom up in the air, say 6 inches or something, just because of whatever operation that you happen to be doing at the time, you can get out with the New Hollands, and I think some of the other machines, once the boom goes up 6 inches or so, you can't open the door anymore. So that's been fantastic. The machine has a lot of power, easy to access and service. They put most of the grease fittings and things where they're easily accessible, and they give you a chart right here. So if you have a lot of different people running the machine, they can see where they need to do their greasing and things like that. So in the back here, let me just open this up. The fuel tank, of course, hang on, there we go. The fuel tank is mounted to the door, so there's good and there's bad to that. The good thing is it's fairly accessible. It's a nice size and it's out of the way. The door is thick enough that I don't think that you would ever puncture the tank. And it looks like there's actually some space between the door and the tank as well. So I don't think you'd really have to be doing something absolutely insane to puncture the tank. There are no little louvers or vents in the door itself. Sorry, I'm just not used to my phone. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, the downside to having the fuel tank on the door is if you're going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting, you're going to want to keep that tank full. You know, it's kind of like a counterweight on the back of the machine. It's not a huge difference, but there is a little bit of a difference in the stability of the machine when you're picking heavy stuff, if that tank is got a quarter tank in it versus when it's full. So that, you know, again, it's not a big thing, but just something to keep in mind. If you do a lot of heavy lifting, just keep it full so you have the most counterbalance there. Everything else is super accessible here. You know, that's your oil filter. Oil fill is right there. Fuel filters. The drain for to drain the oil is right here, and there's actually a little cover right there that you can flip out of the way, and that hose will drop down in there, and then you can drain it. You don't get oil all over the place. You still do get some because, you know, the filter will ooze a little bit. Batteries right there, which is nice, super easy to access. Of course, your air filter. Sorry, your air filter is easy to get to. Everything's easy to get to here. The radiator is actually underneath this cover, and it blows the air out. I haven't had any issues with any dust, dirt buildup, anything on the machine. Now, once in a while, you'll see some stuff like right here. Once in a while, some stuff will sit here and you'll have to clean it off, but it's not a big deal. This is a great, easy, accessible design. The everyday stuff is super easy to get to, so it's all right here. Tie downs on the machine right here, one on the other side. I usually use these guys here, so again, kind of convenient there. This does have the hydraulic quick attach, which is right there inside of the machine. Like I said, it has the pilot controls. They are not electric pilot controls, they're hydraulic, so you cannot change the pattern. With New Holland and probably some of the other companies, with the electric controls, you can change the style of what each lever does. I think each pattern, and I forget what the other one's called, but this you cannot. One stick moves the machine, one does the boom and bucket function. So just to let you know that. Overall, the cab is pretty roomy. It's easy to see. Here, I'll climb in here for you. So this is my view from sitting here. You can see that I can pretty much see almost the full width of the bucket here. Of course, it's flat down on the ground, which is nice. If you need to see your corners of the bucket, you just lean forward a bit. But overall, it's a really good view here. So here's some of your buttons to unlock your bucket or whatever you have on there. This machine also has self-leveling loader. That's what that second button is for. That is turned off because I don't really care for that. Windshield wiper. This side, you just have a hydraulic thing you have to turn on every time you start the machine. There's a park brake. That is for your auxiliary hydraulics, course lights. And there is a DPF inhibit button down there. That will turn off the regen if you don't want it running while you're using the machine. I have never touched that button. The machine has regened for me. There's about 200 hours on the machine, and it averages about 12 to 15 hours it regens. Every 12 to 15 hours it regens. Other than some smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe, I don't even know it's doing it. There's some lights that come on. Oh, there you go. Let's not forget that. There's your screen. There'll be some lights that come on to let you know that it's regenning. It, to me, for everything that I've done with the machine so far, while it's doing its regen, it has not inhibited the use of the machine whatsoever. So I never felt as though it was robbed of power and I needed to park it until it was done or anything like that. So other than it stinks a little bit and it's kind of smoky, I guess if you were working right next to somebody's house and they had the windows open, like I don't really know why you'd even need that button, but it's there if you wanted to sort of pause the regen and do it at a later time during the day or at the end of the day. You could, but again, I don't know why you need to do that. So of course your key, this is your throttle. You've got your fuel gauge, temperature gauge, your hour meters down there. I will turn the key one click so these light up. Cover your ears because it is a loud beep. kind of annoying. There you go, 192 point, what is that, 1? Yeah, 192.1 hours is what's on the machine right now. So that's kind of convenient having that down there. The joysticks have additional functions on them. This is a 2-speed machine, so you have the ability to turn the 2-speed on and off from the joysticks, a horn, your hydraulic controls if you plug in anything out there on the joysticks. The ride control thing for the boom is on the joysticks. And then I think there's even some buttons that don't do anything that you could link things to if you had other attachments that required additional functions. There's quite a few buttons on here and of course on here. And I think there's at least 2 on each joystick currently that don't really do anything. I don't have a lot of fancy attachments, so I've never played with all of them, but it does give you the option to have additional joysticks. There is a foot throttle, but I don't know. I kind of find it's super sensitive, so if it's really bouncy where you're working, that foot throttle is kind of useless because you just end up kind of jerking on it more than anything. But nice open floor, flat. There's room that you can put a few tools in there. That's pretty much a rough overview of the machine. So now I'd like to discuss some of the things I don't like about the machine. The first thing I want to discuss while I'm sitting in here is the pilot controls being hydraulic. I find them to be, and I've tried to be gentle, I find them to be a little bit jerky. It was quite disappointing. There's no settings or anything. Again, electronic joysticks, you have the ability to turn the sensitivity up and down. On this, there is no adjustment on the machine. Now, I recently did just talk with someone who told me, it was a dealer, that told me that there is some sort of adjustment that can be made to them to take that situation away. So there is a possibility that issue could disappear. That is the biggest thing that I do not like about this machine. So again, the dealer said that there's something that they can do about it. So don't let that deter you. So I have to get pretty nitpicky to find things that I don't like about the machine. So don't make fun of me. Don't leave rude comments. Again, I really like the machine. I got a nitpick here. So as you can see, we're sitting here. Here's sort of the inside of the machine. Hopefully I'm not making you dizzy. There's an air vent here, which is kind of nice. I like the cold air blowing right at my face when it's hot out. These 2 little things lock the door up. So, So here's a couple of the things I don't like. You have to turn completely around to get to the controls for the heat and the AC. When you're running the machine, there's no way to adjust them while you're moving. You have to stop to do that. That was one thing that New Holland, the positioning of the controls, you could reach them without having to constantly stop the machine to adjust. Once you have them adjusted, I mean, you don't really touch them a whole lot, but until you get comfortable. So, and then the other thing, this machine has a radio. Same thing all the way back around on the other side. So you're trying to work and commercials keep coming on. So you want to keep reaching and changing your station or whatever. It's really hard to do while you're moving. You pretty much have to keep stopping and changing the stations. So I wish those things were not behind you. I'm not an engineer, but I'm pretty sure Kubota could have found a way to move some of those things up this direction a little more. I'm sure there's ways to do that. And I thought the older machines actually had a console on the side. I could be wrong, but so yeah, that's definitely a couple things I don't like. Another thing, this cup holder here for some reason has like a goofy bolt thing that sticks up out of it. If somebody knows a reason for that, let me know. Otherwise, you cannot stick something in the cup holder very well. Now, there is a cup holder. Oh, right there. There's another one on this side, but this one doesn't hold small things very well. So again, I got to get nitpicky here. One thing about New Holland that I liked, oh, there's your washer fluid, is they had a lap and shoulder belt together. This just has the lap belt. So to me, bouncy situations, it pulls on my stomach more. I wish the shoulder belt was there. So there's that. Getting out of the machine, discussing things. Let's see, right here. So you see right there on the front of the boom and right there on the front of the boom. Those are from a set of forks I have. When you tip the forks all the way up, they hit the boom. Something about the angle here, there's just not a lot of space between the plate of the machine and the boom. New Holland never did that. It's just a design thing. So that kind of irritated me. I tried grinding on the forks some to kind of grind them down, and it was just too much. So that's kind of silly. Those are the only attachment I have for this that actually hits the boom. But so just be careful if you're going to buy a brand new one of these. Either check the forks you have, or maybe buy a new set of forks with it and put them on there before the dealer delivers it, and just make sure that they don't hit. Again, haven't had anything else do that, but yeah, so you know, it ruined the paint there. Kind of disappointing. The visibility out the back isn't great. It's not terrible, but it's not as good as the New Holland is. I don't understand why. I just can't understand it. Why all of these machines, especially when you buy the high-end version, they should just automatically come with a backup camera. I don't understand why they don't. You know, for another $100 or $200 on a $40-some thousand machine isn't going to make or break anybody. Just put the backup camera in there. And maybe some of the other brands offer those standard. I don't know. But it really would be nice to have that on there. So, again, just to make it a little bit easier to see. So, yeah, overall, I think that's about it. Just give you one kind of final walk around here. So there it is. Anyway, this video got kind of long. I figured it probably would. If you have any questions about the machine, I tried to touch on the main points and stay under 20 minutes here. If you have any questions about the machine, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'll be happy to answer anything I can. Overall, if you were looking to buy one of these, and they are available in a cheaper package, hand and foot controls, obviously no cab, you don't have to get high flow, things like that. So if you're looking to buy one of these, I honestly don't think you can go wrong buying one. Most everything about the machine is a real quality, well-made unit, and I don't think you'll go wrong buying one. So I would highly recommend it. I really had to nitpick to find things that I don't like. Like I said, the joystick control being jumpy like that, I really don't like that. But since I was told there's a fix for it, I would not be scared of it. If you're going to buy one of these, just make sure that the dealer adjusts that for you so it's not jumpy. Other than that, I highly recommend the machine. And if you're considering getting a new machine in this size, it's almost a 2,700 pound lift capacity. I think it's like 2,690. So it's got a good lift capacity. Yeah, overall, it's a great machine. You wouldn't go wrong buying one. Kubota usually has good programs, financing programs. You can usually get 0% and stuff too. So if I left anything out, you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll be happy to answer. And I thank everybody for watching this. Sorry it got kind of long. And if you're a regular viewer, I will see you on the next video.